Welcome live to the Sugarman Athletic Complex in Fort Lee. Tonight on the Fort Lee Athletics channel via YouTube. It's Fort Lee football tonight as the 3-0 Bridgemen take on the 2-1 Glen Ridge Ridgers from the Ivy White Division in northern New Jersey here in Bergen County. Hello everybody and welcome. I'm Ralph Bednarchik on hand. Thrilled to have you with me. Glen Ridge, a Group 1 school located in Essex County. Terrific athletic tradition. They are a Group 1 program, however, very small school, 830 students, 7 through 12. And they run a wing T offense for Fort Lee tonight, running their multiple spread under Coach Charles Salame. We'll see if it'll be the offense of Fort Lee that won the coin toss and elected to receive, how they will be able to jump on this wing T ball control possession style offense that the Ridgers run under fourth-year coach Steve Trevino, a longtime disciple player at Caldwell High School and coach at Caldwell High School and Chatham High School. He played under the great Ken Trimmer at Caldwell, and he is in his fourth season building up the Ridgers, who will come in at 2-1 on this season. Glen Ridge with a lopsided win at Indian Hills and Dwight Morrow. 14-6 loss to Montclair Immaculate. Otherwise, we'd have a matchup of 3-0 teams that could go a long way into deciding the Ivy League White Division here in this section of New Jersey high school football. White on white for Glen Ridge, and we are underway with Fort Lee receiving and picking it up with Tyson Lowe at the 19-yard line. And the pickup will be about 13 yards up to the 34-yard line. So let's have a look at the offense for Charles Salame and Fort Lee. The quarterback is a first-year starter in Raymond Lowe. Very cerebral, who's been making the right decisions. He's just thrown one interception last week in a competitive game at Pascack Hills. He went 12 of 19 for 185 yards and are thrilled with his progression and decision-making. He'll face a four-man front of Glen Ridge for most of the evening on their defensive coordinator, Kyle Copeland. And we'll go through the starters in a moment, as he will start off with his one-back in Dean Park, who's got 6 rushing touchdowns and a 3-year starter, as Park will get it on 1st and 10, and he's immediately stopped for no gain on the play by Mateo Pavan, 6'2", 200-pound defensive tackle. The rest of the starters with Raymond Lau. Dean Park is the one-back. Tyson Lau will be a wide receiver with Justin Armwood. And Paul Kim and Tajon Burns will be the fullback. And we have movement, and it'll be encroachment called. And the offside's called by our referee tonight, doing the honors, Robert Bielski. Up front, the offensive line for the Bridgemen. Ruben Mencia is the center. Arsham Bayrami, the right guard. Scott Hahn, the right tackle. Alex Fuentes, the left guard. Jonovic Lugo is the senior co-captain and left tackle. From the shotgun, Park. And Dean Park on 2nd down and 5 picks up 1. 3rd and short for Fort Lee. Defensively in a 4-4 front for Glen Ridge, Mateo Pavin and Jake Russell, the defensive tackles. Josh Schumann at 6'3", 210 is a defensive end with Tommy Hausman. Najim Wright, Ryan O'Neill. The inside linebackers with Will Horan and Colin Monteleone. The outside linebackers, James McCarron and Morgan Horan, the corners. Frankie Renoir is the safety. And Dean Park on 3rd and 4 picks up 2, so an early call to make for Charles Salame, and he is going to decide, well, it's going to be, after the spot, it's going to be 4th and 1, so it's a little closer than I thought it would be. 4th and 1, so he's going to keep his offense out there. Lau remains in the gun. Glen Ridge expecting a cheap punt. Dropping the snap is Lau, and we have a timeout called by Glen Ridge and Steve Trevino. So Fort Lee was going to go for it there, and we'll see if they will keep that same mindset as we come out of the timeouts. So Glen Ridge at 2-1 of the season. their loss to Montclair Immaculate 2 weeks ago, September the 18th. It really woke them up. Steve Trevino felt that we didn't play one of our better games. A scoreless game until the fourth quarter, and some of the youth that Glen Ridge has, they have a freshman at right guard, a young left guard, and the size up front of Montclair Immaculate bothered the Glen Ridge wing team. But they have a terrific backfield, and players such as Ryan O'Neill and Naj Wright also are defensive linebackers, and they will be significant tonight in trying to stop Dean Park of Fort Lee. Opening possession of the game, and Fort Lee will come out this time in a spread look. 3 receivers with 2 receivers left to the top of your screen, and now they move Tyson Lowe left. 4th and 1, Park, again the ball through his hands, and it's going to be covered. It'll be recovered by Glen Ridge inside the Fort Lee 40-yard line. So on consecutive snaps, Park had a convoy of blockers and just kind of took his eye off the ball. It was a good snap by Ruben Mancia, not necessarily too high, and it came in high and hard on him. And Raymond Lau with certainly a mental error. So here is the Glen Ridge wing tee set up with a very short field. The quarterback is sophomore Dylan O'Neill. He's a 2-year starter coming back from last year. He grew 2 inches. O'Neill with a deep set and now throws the fly pattern and out to the right. That's incomplete. He was looking for James McCarron and one of his standout wingbacks, and that's incomplete. So the Ridgers trying to keep Fort Lee honest by taking the deep shot. Let's have a look at the Ridgers starting lineup with Dylan O'Neill being the quarterback. The wingback is senior older brother and former starting quarterback Ryan O'Neill on the left. James McCarron, a 3-year starter, will be the right wingback. The A-back will be Naj Wright at 5'10", 215, a senior. 4 years on the varsity. The tight end, Mateo Pavan. And on the outside, we'll see wide receiver Frankie Renoir as Naj Wright on 2nd and 10 picks up 7 yards as he gets himself down to the 32. With a 3rd and 3 coming up. Renoir is only a sophomore. We'll see sophomore David Kelly as well. The 3rd and 3. Wright, and Wright burrows through a nice hole behind the center, Tommy Hausman, who's a 3-year starter up front, and that will move the chains and the first down. Hausman at 6'1", 195, the center. Freshman right guard Charlie Killen at 6'2", 200. 6'3", 210-pounder Josh Schumann is the right tackle. Anuel Meng is the left guard. And Jake Russell, who's a 3-year varsity man at 220 pounds, 6'2", is the left tackle for Glen Ridge. Out of the wing tee, and this is McCarron. And McCarron blasts his way inside the 25, and he picks up a very healthy 7 yards on first down. Well, James McCarron is also a varsity wrestler, a district champion. He wants to play college football. He's rushed for 4 touchdowns this year. And he's got speed and strength and power. Steve Trevino loves the type of personnel he has in his wing team. That is their bread and butter. This is Naj Wright, and back up the middle on 2nd and 3. He picks up another first down to the 16. For Fort Lee defensively, in their 4-3 alignment, Justin Armwood, the defensive end, with Ruben Mancia. Arsham Bayrami and Scott Hahn will be the defensive tackles, and we'll see a lot of Isaias Perez. Jonovic Lugo is the senior co-captain inside linebacker with Tajon Burns, Dean Park, and Chris Chun outside. Paul Kim, the free safety, as this is Naj Wright again, crossing the 15, and he stopped after a gain of 1. Tyson Lowe is one corner, and Greg Maratosov is the other. A 2nd and 9 for Glen Ridge. First possession of the game. Glen Ridge taking advantage of a fumble on a 4th and 1 on the opening series for the Bridgemen. O'Neill Second man through, that's McCarron, and he is dropped. He is dropped. Justin Armwood got in the backfield. Well, no whistle got blown. No whistle, and McCarron continues. Signaled as a touchdown.
Touchdown, Glen Ridge.
Well, everybody thought that the play was dead. Armwood got in the backfield and hit him, but McCarron appeared like he never went down. The players stopped playing. It's a touchdown run from 16 yards out, and James McCarron, showing off that strength, has made it 6-0. Chris Hitty, senior kicker, on for the point after.
Hitty to attempt the extra point.
And Chris Hitty puts it through. It is 7-0. So Glen Ridge takes advantage of the short field. They go 39 yards and pay it off with the McCarron touchdown run. Fifth rushing touchdown of this season for James McCarron. Last week against White Morrow, he rushed 14 times for 126 yards and a couple of scores in the lopsided Glen Ridge victory. And that is what we just saw, Glen Ridge football, and what the wing T is in a nutshell. It's a ball control offense, and particularly they are very hard to disrupt. There's not many programs that play it anymore, so many programs have a tough time picking it up after just 1 week of practice. The kickoff by Colin Monteleone. Tyson Lowe from the 16-yard line. And Lowe is going to be dropped at about the 25. Good job on special teams by Captain Ryan O'Neill of Glen Ridge. So Fort Lee back to work. Fort Lee handed the ball off 3 times to Dean Park. On their first possession, it's a multiple offense for Charles Salame. Or Charles Salame with the multiple offense. He went double receivers to one side and then trips after motioning. And Glen Ridge was able to tackle upon contact, first contact during that first possession. Park again into the secondary. Dean Park with a stiff arm. He picks up the first down and crosses the 40-yard line. Park will be spotted out across the 41. That's a 15-yard pickup, but there is a flag down. So we'll wait for the call as we have Robert Bielski mic'd up tonight. Flag came in later, so perhaps it is holding downfield, which could be a break for Fort Lee.
At the end of the play, we had a personal foul, face mask against the offense number 3.
So that is an offensive foul, face mask against Dean Park on the stiff arm. So that will be from the spot, and it essentially is a net zero, a 15-yard penalty after a 15-yard game. So that wipes out the long run for Dean Park, who comes in having rushed for almost 800 yards through 3 games. Last week against Pascack Hills, rushed for 97 yards in a close affair. Park again, as this time he slides through and will pick up just 2. As again, that is Ryan O'Neill making the stop. O'Neill's a first-year starting inside linebacker, was a defensive end last year for Steve Trevino, and just someone that will do anything for the team and plays very physical, and of course mentoring his younger brother Dylan O'Neill as the quarterback. You certainly can't underestimate Ryan O'Neill's impact on Glen Ridge. Lau again with Park in the backfield. 2nd and 9, back to Dean Park, who bounces it outside, and then he's chopped down. That's a nice open field tackle by Will Horan. And Horan, a junior outside linebacker, they love his nasty streak that caused him to build his way up through the offseason and eventually win a job as a starting outside linebacker for defensive coordinator Kyle Copeland. And it is a defense that as a whole, Steve Trevino feels they have an overall nasty streak to them. 3rd and 5, Park. And Park will be dropped right around the line of scrimmage, and using that great extension, that's Mateo Pavin at 6'2", 200. The defensive tackle that slid over, it's only a gain of 1 for Park. So on 4th and 3, and this time Lau will back it up. And Fort Lee still not yet in a punt formation, as Lau will look to get the signal from the bench whether or not to go for it. Glen Ridge is expecting a punt. And indeed, Lau pooches it, and it's blocked. It's blocked, it's caught up in the air, and it'll be brought in for the touchdown by Horan. Will Horan takes it the rest of the way, and Glen Ridge capitalizes on yet another big play by their defense. 13-0 Ridgers in the opening quarter. Horan able to catch the ball in stride and take it the rest of the way after the pooch punt by Lau was directly into one of the linemen. And Fort Lee did not block it well enough, and that's what had a man right in Lau's face that caused the chaos.
To attempt the extra point.
Chris Hiddy, he's got both. 14-0.
Kick is good with 4 minutes and 38 seconds remaining.
And the dreams start for Glen Ridge on the road. Glen Ridge located in Essex County, a terrific community that has fine sports for being a small school. At the Group 1 level, they've been very good in boys lacrosse notably. Assistant football coach Carl Hauser is the varsity boys lacrosse coach. I had a chance to catch up with him pre-game just about the bigger picture and what Glen Ridge has going on. Not as many crossover players in the senior class in lacrosse, but enough younger athletes that are playing both. Glen Ridge also terrific in Group 1 at the state level. Girls lacrosse under Coach Beth Larkin. Girls soccer, Oscar Viteri. And they have been frequent state title contenders. Lowe from the 14-yard line on the return. And Lowe will cross the 30. And Fort Lee already with its 3rd possession of this opening quarter. Still 4.5 left. And they're still looking for their first down. And now how significant that penalty, the offensive stiff arm, looks to Dean Park. Two receivers near sideline. Lau this time on the Wildcat. And taking it outside, Tyson Lowe, beg your pardon, will pick it up and take it to the 39-yard line, set up 2nd and 5. Tyson Lowe is a senior, goes 6'2", lanky, and he'll be all over the field at different spots on the offense as an outside receiver and in the slot. And as we saw in the Wildcat, right now he's in the slot. Lau back in the shotgun, a quarterback with Dean Park. And now Fort Lee appears like they were struggling communicating with what the play call was. And the Bridgemen will take a timeout ahead of this 2nd down and 5. 14-0 Glen Ridge. In case you're just tuning in on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel, Ralph Bednarchik on hand tonight from Fort Lee, just across the George Washington Bridge. Comfortable conditions for Friday Night Lights. Glen Ridge under fourth-year coach Steve Trevino, where they went 5-3 last year. And running the wing tee, they had a lot of optimism with their great backfield that they can compete to win the Ivy League White Division here in the area. While Charles Salome in his third season, a year ago, Fort Lee ended up going 4-2. But 2020 was just the second winning season over the last 20 years at Fort Lee High School. And Coach Salome likes that he has a dedicated group, and he's got a team that is both balanced in terms of running the football and throwing the football to this point. As Salome spends his first time out, so the 2nd and 5, Lau. Park tries the left side, and this time he's able to blast through off the left side and does pick up the first down. So Fort Lee moving the chains for the first time as they take it to the 46. Well, Park has terrific speed,
7-yard gain makes it first and
particularly in the secondaries we saw with his 15-yard run. A varsity track sprinter for Charles Salome and winter track as well. That's an indoor sport. Park. And Park blasts up the middle, shakes a man, and takes it into the next level for another first down to the 39. He was able to break a tackle and add to it as Colin Monteleone only got a little piece of him for Glen Ridge. And Fort Lee now going with some tempo. On first down, Park. And looking to move his feet, running behind the right guard, Arsham Bayrami, but he is then driven back after crossing the line of scrimmage. And Park picks up 2.
Tackle made by Russell. 2-yard gain makes it 2nd and 8 from the 37.
Love the way Charles Salame described how he runs his offense philosophically. This is Tyson Lowe as he keeps it and now turns the corner and explodes. Tyson Lowe cuts it back inside and takes it inside the 20. The long strides of Tyson Lowe. And once he cut it back, my, how he turned the corner. That's another first down for Fort Lee. It's down to the 12-yard line. Lowe will remain in at quarterback, joined by Park in the backfield. High snap through his hands. Lowe does not fall on it, and Glen Ridge has recovered. The Ridgers recover another turnover. That's now 2 turnovers and a punt return touchdown off of a block punt for Glen Ridge in the first 10 minutes of the game. Once Lowe had the ball go through his hands, it was major trouble. And that was a high snap from Ruben Mancia. I can't say that it necessarily was a bad snap because it went through the quarterback's hands. O'Neal, McCarron with right blocking on in front, and the power of Glen Ridge will set up a 2nd down and short after a pickup of just over 9. They'll spot it at the 38, 2nd and 1. So we've seen both McCarron and Naj Wright doing the damage. This is McCarron off the wing, tries the right side, and he is snapped up behind the line of scrimmage and eventually brought down. And it appears they are giving him forward progress. That'll be the 35 and the first down for Glen Ridge. And while Glen Ridge is a wing tee program, as Steve Trevino describes it, it is our bread and butter. It certainly calms them down, but they do have an RPO game, run-pass option with O'Neal. This is McCarron, same play. And running behind the right tackle, Josh Schumann. And he picks up 6 more yards. But they are not 100% wing T the way traditional other programs have been, and that has evolved. When you think of the wing T, you think of Mountain Lakes, another small school. Many programs, it's a traditional offense that is perfect for high school football. But when you have some athletes and a quarterback that can throw, coaches have added that to it. Here's the toss. This is Wright. And Naj Wright, and he'll be stopped near the line of scrimmage. And it'll be 3rd and, call it a long 2 for Glen Ridge. And with the 3 running backs that they have, it certainly is the complete reason why Glen Ridge turns to the wing team. And a school with tremendous athletes, typically lacrosse, football, crossover, it's perfect for those kinds of programs that have those shifty kind of quick athletes. As before the 3rd and 2 call could be made, we've reached the end of the first quarter. 14-0 Glen Ridge on the road. You're watching Fort Lee football on the Fort Lee Athletics channel. Welcome back as we start the second quarter. Naj Wright on 3rd and 2 carries, and he'll be stopped just short of the first down for Glen Ridge. So a 4th and 1 decision for the Ridgers and Coach Steve Trevino. And the way the offense has been moving the football, I would imagine Glen Ridge will go for it here. With the offensive line, the experience of Houseman, even though they are a small school, it is a nice-sized offensive line. Glen Ridge does have 2 timeouts and the 14-0 lead. And the clock was stopped for a brief measurement requested by the Glen Ridge sideline. And now the clock moving again. It is about the length of a football. Dylan O'Neill, the quarterback, is also the punter. And at 14-0, it looks like Glen Ridge is not going to gift wrap a short field in any way for Fort Lee, and they'll line up in punt formation. So 4th and 1, Lowe, who is the punt return man, is playing a high free safety. O'Neill runs it up, will fake it, will go, and he's going to make the first down. Well, Fort Lee loses contain, and that was the biggest problem. That's a great play call, and it's a first down for Glen Ridge. Well, there have been 2 areas that Charles Salame has felt that we need to improve in that would max out our potential. One has been penalties. The 15-yard offensive face mask on the stiff arm by Dean Park was costly. And then number 2 is special teams. And there is a player losing contain that allows O'Neill to pick up the 1 yard he needed. Now O'Neill gives to Naj Wright, who blasts up the middle and will go. Naj Wright into the secondary, chase from behind. He'll be tracked down by Tyson Lowe. It's going to set up 1st and goal for Glen Ridge. Wright wasn't able to finish off the run. as Paul Kim frantically chased him from behind before eventually the strides of Tyson Lowe caught up to him.
45-yard gain on the play. Makes it
That's a
first and
45-yard
goal.
blast for Naj Wright. And right now, Glen Ridge is winning up front at the point of attack. They do not have a negative play on the ground. Second man through. And that is going to be Ryan O'Neal on the carry. So Ryan O'Neal's story is quite inspirational. Was the starting quarterback in 2019. And ahead of 2020, they sat down with him, asking him in the bigger picture, we need you to move from quarterback because your younger brother, Dylan O'Neal, is exceptional and we feel we can use you at different spots. And Ryan O'Neal had no problem with it. He moved to wingback from quarterback. He's an excellent blocker. He knows the offense with his experience, and he is a tough kid at 6'1", 180. Naj Wright tries the left side,
Handoff to Wright.
and he gets about perhaps a yard on the play, and it'll be 3rd and goal from the 8-yard line.
And goal from the
Well, this is clearly 4-down territory for Glen Ridge, who could apply a real knockout punch here early in the second quarter. The throw out to the left, and the completion, the catch is made. That's Frankie Renoir. And Renoir,
pass complete to Renoir.
O'Neal threw a strike out to the left.
Stopped by Lugo, brings up 4th down. 4th
And
goal
Renoir
from
stopped at the 3-yard line, so a pickup of 5 on the play on the bubble screen. So a significant play in the game. 8 minutes to go, second quarter. And Glen Ridge will go for a 4th and goal from the 3. O'Neal. McCarron, a walk-in touchdown. James McCarron in for the score from 3 yards out.
for the Ridgers.
And it's 20-0 Glen Ridge.
Touchdown scored by John McCarron.
And of course, pending the extra point, it is 19-0. Or I should say 20-0. And McCarron, the second man through in the wing tee. That misdirection that can at times freeze linebackers. And McCarron was untouched.
Chris City to attempt the extra point.
Dylan O'Neal holds. Chris Hitty is perfect. 3 for 3 on point afters.
7 minutes and 47 seconds remaining.
Well, Glen Ridge has taken advantage of every Fort Lee mistake in this first half, and they have a commanding 21-0 lead. So James McCarron with his 3rd 2-touchdown game out of 4 games this season. And the key play, the 4th and less than a yard fake punt executed by Dylan O'Neal, the quarterback, who rugby-styled punt. He had the option, and he took it, noticing that he could get the first down after Fort Lee lost contain and did not attack the punter. Monteleone to kick it off. And on the return, Fort Lee will get a nice run back from Jalen Balbuena, freshman wide receiver. And he's got a 33-yard return. And that could get the Bridgemen going. Fort Lee desperately needed a play. So Fort Lee from their own 48-yard line. They've had success between the tackles with Dean Park, including picking up 2 first downs in their last possession. Lau back in at quarterback. He'll look to throw. fires left, and the completion. He's on target. He's got Dean Park out of the backfield, and Park, who has not been targeted often in the receiving game, is there, and he picks up 7 on first down.
Gain 6 on the play, makes it 2nd and 4 from the 46.
So Fort Lee into Glen Ridge territory as we work towards 7 minutes left in this first half. Now Tyson Lowe at quarterback, with Park staying in to block, and he is lassoed around and dropped on 3rd and 3 by McCarron. Well, McCarron, as good as he is as a wingback, McCarron is known, going back to last year, as a defensive player. He was an all-Group 1 selection as an outside linebacker, and that's where his wrestling and strength truly shine. Low motions, direct snap, Park keeping. And Park trying to run on 3rd and 1 through the right side. He will pick up the first down. He is given forward progress down to the 41 of Glen Ridge. So Fort Lee has shown how multiple they are on offense. Jar Salame's offense has been able to establish the run. They don't want to force things, and I thought the key phrasing is, let's take what the defense gives us. But key mistakes have grounded drives and set up short fields. Lau back in, will throw, and he threw the slant over the middle, knocked down and almost intercepted. That's James McCarron that almost had another big play. So the first down shot, and it's 2nd and 10.
2nd and 10 from the 41.
Lau turns, Park, and Park will rip up a big run off the middle. He is tripped up as he crossed the 30.
Head off to Dean Park.
Will Horan was able to slow him down just enough before he was finished off at the 28 of Glen Ridge. But the Bridgemen will move it and keep this drive going with 5:50 left first half. And what feels like a critical possession for Fort Lee, where they must get points. Lau looking right, then flush, throws low, but it's complete. He's on target, and inside the 20, he finds his receiver. Good improvisation by Raymond Lau, and that's his favorite target coming back from last year, and that's Justin Armwood.
13-yard gain on the play. Makes it 1st and 10 from the 15.
Armwood's 9th catch of the season, but he's been a big play guy. 8 catches for 229 yards coming in for Armwood. On first down, Lowe back in at quarterback, and he will get himself back to the line of scrimmage.
Stopped by Schmidt. 2nd and 10. Ball still on the 15.
Fort Lee has yet to take a shot downfield for Tyson Lowe. Lau on 2nd and 10. With the quick drop, fires left, and the completion underneath. Inside the 5-yard line, it's going to be 1st and goal for Fort Lee. They go underneath, and they find Paul Kim, the trusted slot receiver. And the junior, who runs very quick dart routes and stop routes, is able to settle into a spot. First catch of the night for Paul Kim, with a couple catches for 25 yards last week in the win at Pascack Hills. From the 3. The give up the middle, that's Tajon Burns, and Burns continues to fight. Continuing to fight, and there's a signal for a touchdown. Well, Tajon Burns and the offensive line of Fort Lee on the right side did not give up. So the 3-yard run, and it's a very quick answer for Fort Lee. Fort Lee this season, for a lot of their conversions, has been going for 2. And they will line up that way here. With Lowe, the motion man, direct snap, Burns burrows his way up the middle for 2.
And the two-point conversion is
21-8 is the score.
with 4 minutes and 11 seconds remaining.
Third rushing touchdown of the season for Tajon Burns,
21, the Bridgman.
who's a bigger running back who goes 5'9", 220 pounds, and arguably the strongest Fort Lee player on the roster. So now a much different looking game. Still 4:11 left, first half. And there's a chance that both teams may still have the ball the remainder of this half. Next week, Fort Lee will be at Dumont next Friday night. And then the home finale, at least in the regular season, against Indian Hills, October 15th. And the regular season comes to a close October 22nd at Montclair Immaculate. Glen Ridge next Saturday. They will host Pascack Hills.
Yeah, he is the deep man for the Ridgers.
And off the kickoff, it is popped up, I think, for an onside kick, and it will go out of bounds. It appeared that was intentional and aggressive play call for Fort Lee, and the ball bounced up high and perfectly. The ball just does not go the Bridgman way. But that was very well done by Fort Lee. And the type of kick that special teams units are not used to seeing.
From 40.
So Fort Lee almost stealing the possession. Glen Ridge will have it at their own 40 with 2 timeouts. O'Neal, second man through, McCarron. And McCarron breaks it to the outside, picks up a block. James McCarron into the secondary. A tough man to bring down. Eventually takes it inside the Fort Lee 25. He is a major problem for defensive backs at the high school level. Tyson Lowe eventually found a way to bring him to the turf.
Ridgers picked up 36 on the play. It's
That's a 36-yard run for James McCarron. McCarron slowed up, and this time he is cut down.
down the ball carrier.
Well, this is a defensive group, and the thought from Charles Salame was about his defense that, look, we have a very fast team. The team that explodes off the ball better tonight should have an advantage in this kind of a game. And right now it's the Glen Ridge offensive line that has just been so good with their blocks. There's been very little penetration into the backfield by the Fort Lee front four, as we have a timeout called by Glen Ridge. So Steve Trevino has 1 timeout left. But that's what you need in order to disrupt the wing team. Make the quarterback hand the ball off to the second man under some duress, make them change the path of their run away from the blocking, and you have a shot to have a number of negative plays for you for your defense. This will be a 2nd and 6 from the Fort Lee 21. Still 3 minutes, 11 seconds left. And Glen Ridge must have not have liked the way they were lined up, and they only had perhaps a few seconds left on the play clock.
Second and 6 from the 21.
O'Neal remains under center. McCarron, double handoff. And this is Ryan O'Neal. Ryan O'Neal breaks it to the outside and will take it for the touchdown. 21 yards. O'Neal, the wingback, taking the handoff from James McCarron. And that is wing T football. 27-6 Ridgers. Capitalizing on the overflow and the misdirection, well timed. First rushing touchdown of the season. Make that second rushing touchdown of the season for Ryan O'Neal. High snap. Dylan O'Neal looking for two, fires low, and incomplete. He did have the backside throw available if he wanted it. So it stays at 21-8. Make it 27-8, beg your pardon, on the score with 3:02 remaining first half. The big run, the 39-yard burst by James McCarron to set that up after the short field after Fort Lee tried to onside kick. Low from the 17. And Low brought down as he crosses the 30. So Fort Lee armed with 2 timeouts, 2:57 left. And again finding themselves trailing by 3 scores, 27-8. Raymond Lau has yet to take a deep shot, and we'll see if they'll have that opportunity during this possession. And it's trips left for the Bridgemen on first down. Dean Park in the backfield. Lau fires outside, and the ball bobbled and nearly intercepted, but there's a flag down in the backfield. Dangerous throw attempted by Lau. And he was looking to go outside to Justin Armwood in a very tight window. And roughing the passer. And the automatic first down. So a break for Fort Lee. That stops the clock and advances the ball up to the 46-yard line. And that'll back things up. There is movement in the slot. But the early indication is offsides Glen Ridge. So 20 yards of penalties against the Ridgers will put the ball exactly at midfield.
Makes it first and 5 from midfield.
Lau fires right, and he's got Low, but comes down with the catch.
Pass complete to Low. He's stuck.
And that'll be a first down to the 44. So the quick stop route in front of the corner outside there.
10 from the Ridgers 44.
And that's Morgan Horan. Will Horan, junior outside linebacker. Twin brother Morgan is a starting corner with David Kelly on the opposite side. 2:08 left and counting. Off the play fake, Raymond Lau He's flushed and will take it and go. And Lau will get himself out of bounds, and then the late flag coming out. And I believe that was either Kelly or McCarron, and that'll be another 15 yards tacked on to the end of that. Well, Lau had already given himself up, and that's where Glen Ridge has to slow themselves down. Even though the contact was extremely light and minimal, you cannot make contact.
Late hit out of bounds against the defense. That's a 15-yard penalty. The result is a first down.
And despite how soft the penalty is, it is still the right call. So after Lau picked up 8,
10 from the 21.
it's 15 more to take it to the Glen Ridge 21. 1:58 left. Lau blitzes on from the edge. Lau steps up and he's going to be brought down and sacked.
6-yard loss on the play.
Coming off the edge, and the blocking, losing Mateo Pavin inside the defensive tackle.
Second and 16.
Pavin is a transfer from St. Peter's Prep, where he played lacrosse, no football. That's why he was able to play right away and not sit out the 30 days. But a Glen Ridge kid, 2nd and 15, and Lau rolls out and throws short, incomplete. And it's 3rd and 16 now, and how much of a problem that sack was for Fort Lee with 1:02 left. Clearly 4-down territory for the Bridgemen. Lau with trips to his right, looks that way, then throws a crossing pattern and is intercepted. He was looking for Tyson Lowe. The interception by Will Horan, and he is banged out of bounds. Second big play made by Horan today. First the punt return touchdown off the block, and then the interception. And with 53.5 seconds left, Glen Ridge about to go into the locker room after a great first half. Lau was trying to throw Tyson Lowe open, but did not get the ball outside enough. And that allowed Horan, sitting back, to step right in front of the pattern. Third Fort Lee turnover. Naj right up the middle. Glen Ridge does have one timeout remaining, but it looks like Coach Steve Trevino is content to let the clock run. Glen Ridge does have the ball first in the third quarter. It's been the running of James McCarron, one big run from Naj Wright after softening up the defense. And the Glen Ridge defense, they've given up yards, but they have not given up the big play, as Wright will take it across the 30. And he's got 4, and that'll take care of the first half. Glen Ridge capitalizing on Fort Lee mistakes and short fields. It's 27-8 Glen Ridge in a matchup here in the Ivy League White Division. We'll be back in 15 minutes to bring you the second half. You're watching Fort Lee football on the Fort Lee YouTube channel. Second half about to begin, live on the YouTube Fort Lee Athletics channel. Ralph Bednarczyk back with you. 27-8, Glen Ridge leading the Fort Lee Bridgemen here in Fort Lee. Glen Ridge at 2-1, Fort Lee 3-0, and it was simply a case of capitalizing on errors for Glen Ridge, and their wing T offense was precise in their runs. Virtually no negative plays, everything positive, particularly between the tackles for Glen Ridge. And they also have the ball to open up the third quarter, trailing 27-8 at this point, looking to add to it as the ball is kicked out of bounds, so it'll be more great field position for the Ridgers. Fort Lee came out and then ended up turning the ball over on a 4th and 1 at their own 40-yard line. The snap and the shotgun went through Fort Lee quarterback Raymond Lau's hands. That set up a short field touchdown run for James McCarron from 14 yards. Next possession, Will Horan off of a blocked punt on a 4th and 4. He returned it the other way, 14-0. McCarron then, after another short field, ended up with a 3-yard touchdown run, his second of the night, to make it 21-0 end of the first quarter. As Glen Ridge is going to take the penalty here and back up Fort Lee, they want to return. Fort Lee on the next possession was able to score on a 3-yard touchdown run from Tajon Burns and get the 2-point conversion to make it 21-8. But right before the half, a big run by James McCarron ended up setting up a red zone possession for Glen Ridge, and then Ryan O'Neal came up with a 21-yard touchdown run. Point after was unable to be taken following a poor snap. 27-8, that's where we stand. Short spinning kickoff here, handled cleanly for a fair catch by Colin Monteleone. And that is where Glen Ridge will begin at about their own 35-yard line. Well, if you're Charles Salame, head coach of Fort Lee, I think the first thing you talked about, and probably the main point, is defensively, we have to find a way to slow down McCarron and Wright between the tackles. They need some penetration. They need to get off the line quicker and find a way to disrupt this Glen Ridge offense that has looked very, very comfortable. All season long, the front eight has been very strong for Fort Lee, with the linebackers cleaning up behind them, but they have just not been able to get much penetration. This is Wright, and that's a pickup of close to 2, so that's much better from Fort Lee. And then if you're Steve Trevino of Glen Ridge, I imagine he used the phrase, let's keep doing what we do and execute, because Glen Ridge had their way. Can they hit a play in the passing game at some point? Can they stretch the field? They took a deep shot on their very first offensive play of the night and missed it. And can they put in a couple of wrinkles in this second half? O'Neal, double handoff, Ryan O'Neal, and he's stacked up and runs right into a Fort Lee defender. It's a pickup of just 1 for Ryan O'Neal, and this is exactly where you want to leave a wing T offense in 3rd and long. This would be 3rd and 7. O'Neal only threw 1 pass in the first half, and that was on, as he was the holder on a failed snap, and he threw it looking for a 2-point conversion. Here's trips right for Glen Ridge. Deep set, 3rd and 7, throws right and throws a strike. This is Kelly, who's going to pick up the first down. David Kelly then tiptoes the sideline and has a very nice run after catch down to the 43. And that is a strong throw from Dylan O'Neal, a sophomore. Kelly, a 5'7" sophomore as well. He'll be on the varsity lacrosse team coming up in the springtime. And he's pretty good at getting himself open, and he ran a textbook pattern to the outside. Back to Wright and McCarron in the backfield. McCarron. And McCarron again hit a few yards after he crosses the line of scrimmage. And he'll pick up close to 4 on the play to set up 2nd down.
Gain of 3. Makes it 2nd and 7 from the 40-yard line.
Fort Lee has maintained having 8 men in the box consistently, and even a 9th walking that man up. And we'll see if they will line up even closer to the line of scrimmage on these next couple of possessions in the third quarter as they try to get themselves back in the game. Play fake, O'Neal. Nice pocket, over the top, has a man wide open and incomplete. And he missed his brother. That was Ryan O'Neal streaking. He also had another player running the middle of the field. That was Will Horan. And Dylan O'Neal had a choice of who to hit for a touchdown. So Glen Ridge, as expected, knowing they have to take a couple of shots to counter what Fort Lee is doing up front. And they've looked pretty good with it. O'Neal from the shotgun. Blitz picked up. Throws out to McCarron, who makes the catch and the adjustment and will take it for the touchdown. What a throw, 40 yards. Dylan O'Neal to James McCarron, his 3rd of the night. And Glen Ridge shows they are much more than a wing T squad. (33-8). Point after, it's a fake. The throw is good for the score. O'Neal hits Will Horan for 2.
With 9 minutes and 33 seconds remaining in the third quarter of play.
And this is clinic put on by Glen Ridge. And the Ridgers showing that they can be multiple out of this wing T and execute. Well, what an adjustment by James McCarron, the wingback, running the deep sideline. And Dylan O'Neal, after a little bit of a pump fake on the second, after the first pump, still able to get a lot of strength on that throw and some touch, where he gave James McCarron a chance to adjust to the football. And then McCarron did very well in almost back shouldering that catch. And the Fort Lee defender never really turned around and was able to look back. The kickoff is a line drive, and it'll be covered by Fort Lee at their 29-yard line as Ruben Mancia. So 9:32 left, and it's back to a 3-score game. Now make it a 4-score game at 35-8.
First and 10 from the 30.
Bridgman will go to Tyson Lowe at quarterback for a first down. And this is Dean Park breaking into the secondary. Dean Park will sprint all the way to the end zone for a 70-yard touchdown.
Touchdown!
Fort Lee, in an instant, gets it back to a 3-score game.
70-yard touchdown run for Dean Park.
Park approached the secondary as if he was going to be crowded, and then known for his speed, his momentum, especially in about a 5-yard surge crossing the line of scrimmage into the second level, was remarkable. As some defenders looked like they had angles, he took those angles away. This is Tajon Burns up the middle for the 2-point conversion. So it's 35-16. And Fort Lee showing that they are far from done. And Charles Salame, I'm sure, was telling his team at the break that we are very much in this game. We clean up a couple of errors. We find a way to get a couple of stops defensively. We know we can move the football against them. And I imagine he's going to be emphasizing that thought the rest of this second half. So Fort Lee to line up for the kickoff. They have already tried an onside kick and then a couple of short kicks. We'll see if they attempt that here. This one on the ground, fielded cleanly by Glen Ridge. And that's Ryan O'Neill. That will pick up 8 yards up to the 43. And the Ridgers have just not made that significant mistake that could swing the momentum of a game yet. So 2 receivers left. O'Neill starts on the ground, right. And right is going to be brought down in the backfield. That's Justin Armwood, starting defensive end on this Fort Lee defense. And right is going to be given the line of scrimmage, so it is not yet a negative play. But Fort Lee has been looking for that kind of penetration and a way to just stack up this offensive line for Glen Ridge that has been so good throughout. And that's the thing that Steve Trevino has felt, that he wants his offensive line to be more nasty up front and straight ahead blocking. I think through the first half, they absolutely accomplished that. Second and 10, Ryan O'Neill. And O'Neill gets out of a tackle. O'Neill is going to pick up the first down and keeps fighting. Well, he had a Fort Lee player leaning on his cleat. That was Jonovic Lugo, senior inside linebacker and 3-year starter, quarterback of the defense. Looked like Lugo would pull O'Neill's cleat off. McCarron, more penetration, and this time he's going to be stopped again at the point of attack. Gabe Jimenez, sophomore backup linebacker, finishes off McCarron. So on first down, that's consecutive first down stops that Fort Lee has gotten defensively. From the Fort Lee 43-yard line, and a timeout to be taken now by Steve Trevino. And he'll spend one here early in the second half, 7:07 remaining. Well, down and distance is critical in the wing team because it is not necessarily known as a passing offense. It is more about slow, steady, and methodical. You wouldn't know that from tonight, but generally the wing tee is all about gaining 3.5, 4 yards per play. So if you can put them in a 3rd and 10 for teams that typically don't throw well or throw much, that's where you're at an advantage for the defense. In this case, Glen Ridge has shown that they are at minimum adequate as a passing offense. The loss that came for Glen Ridge in week 2, September 18th, 14-6 to Montclair Immaculate. Steve Trevino came out and said to his team, this loss is on me as a coach. We just didn't make the right offensive adjustments. They've simplified things since then. Play fake on 2nd and 10. Dylan O'Neill rolls out and the pass is dropped. Just a touch behind his receiver, the tight end Mateo Pavin. And Pavin might still be running if he brought it in. The pass indeed a touch behind, but one that goes in the books as a drop. So Glen Ridge has come out and attempted 3 passes after not attempting any in the first half. Third and 10. Run blitz. Right. And Wright looks for a hole, and Fort Lee is able to string the play out and hold Wright to just a couple. So now a 4th down decision for Glen Ridge. Do they elect to try to pin Fort Lee deep inside their own 15-yard line? And that's exactly what they're going to do without any hesitation. And they'll send Dylan O'Neill back in punt formation. O'Neill has faked 1 punt, but that was a 4th and 1. Good snap. Off the rugby option, he'll kick it away. And now looks for the ball to be downed, and it will be downed beautifully at about the 2 or 1 yard line. That's Frankie Renoir, the wide receiver and safety that got down there. And it works out beautifully for Glen Ridge. Looks like they'll officially spot it at the, looks like the 3. So Raymond Lau will give Dean Park. And Park trying to escape his end zone. He's actually going to lose yardage here. He barely gets out of the end zone. And that's a loss of 2 for Dean Park.
2nd and 12 from the goal line.
And the nose of the football just barely across the defensive goal line. So Lau, who remains in shotgun for the whole offense, and I think here, timeout Fort Lee. And Charles Salame wants to make sure of the snap in this situation. Any mistake or a penalty is an automatic safety. But particularly on the snap, and this might be an area for an offense that does not practice being under center. This might be the occasion where you say, let us go under center and just make sure of it. And they can still toss it out to Dean Park on the perimeter. So it is a 2nd and 12. And for Charles Salame, this is a critical possession. Dean Park does look like he has attempted a pass this season in a potential rollout or a toss, something to change it up. And perhaps even a double pass could be in the works here. But right now the center quarterback exchange is paramount. So under center goes Lau, and he'll give it to Burns. And Burns does give the offense some more breathing room, and that's out closer to the 2. So it'll be 3rd and 10.
Stop by Schumann. Third and 11 from the 1.
Now Raymond Lau back to the gun. Takes the snap. Dean Park will try to turn the corner. As Park cuts it back inside, almost broke it. He gets near the 10-yard line before he is stopped there. But it should be a 4th down punting situation. Frankie Renoir with a good tackle for Glen Ridge.
8-yard gain, 4th and 2 from the 9.
So it is 4th and 2. Fort Lee has attempted one punt. It was blocked. It appears they're going to go for it. Tyson Lowe in the backfield, turning the corner, and he's going to pick up the 1st down. He needed to cross the 12, and the length of the 6'3" Tyson Lowe is enough. So the gamble pays off for Coach Charles Salame, and one that if Fort Lee is able to come back and really have a chance to tie the game, that could be the key call. Low up the middle, and from the 13-yard line, he'll pick up perhaps a yard.
Tyson Lowe, the ball carrier, timeout on the field. Second and 10 from the 13.
Lau taking the snap. Park again, just trying to stretch it out to the right, and then he is submerged and brought down off the edge. And that's James McCarron that came flying in to put a shoulder into him. Well, McCarron is such a sure tackler, a 2-year starter. Last year was an outside linebacker, and his terrific pursuit that has been quite evident tonight. So a 3rd and 8. Off the play fake, Lau tries down the middle, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Justin Armwood. It was open, but just a tad behind in the timing. And another 4th down decision for Fort Lee. At 4th and 8 from their own, call it 14-yard line. Glen Ridge expecting the punt as they back off. Lau will throw. Looks for Lowe over the middle. He goes up and gets it. 1st down, Fort Lee. He makes the catch in front of Will Horan, and Fort Lee has converted 2 4th downs on a possession that started inside their own 1-yard line. Now Loa quarterback gives to Dean Park, who burrows his way up the middle. And with his shifty feet, he picks up 8 on 1st down. And Fort Lee can get into the hurry up here. And now a timeout by Glen Ridge. So 2nd timeout used of this 2nd half by Glen Ridge, and Steve Trevino and his defensive coordinator Kyle Copeland clearly showing some concern with Fort Lee getting into a rhythm and what they can try to do to disrupt them here. And potentially get a stop and find a way to separate themselves again once and for good. Now what a toss that was by Raymond Lau over the middle for Tyson Lowe on a 4th down and 8. And Lowe taking advantage of single coverage, man defense. And just a simple slant, but the ball was put where it needed to be, where only Lowe can get it.
Second and 2 from the 45.
trips left for Fort Lee. On a 2nd and 2. Park again. Park has the first down and breaks it to the outside. Still at his feet. Dean Park racing ahead. Down the sideline. Will go again for the touchdown. Dean Park from 55 yards out. But there is a flag down. And it is coming back. In the vicinity of holding. Let's see what Robert Bielski says.
On the offense, number 77, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. The team second up.
And a crushing penalty. So it was a hold past the line of scrimmage. So that'll be 2nd down and 11. And backing it up to the Fort Lee 36-yard line. Well, what another fantastic run by Dean Park, who appeared like defenders had an angle against him, and he eliminated that angle. Lau, low on the toss. Makes the first man miss in the backfield. Lowe still on his feet. Lowe continues, and he makes a lot out of what could have been a bad loss. He was trapped in the backfield. Frankie Renoir had the chance to get him in the backfield and drop him for 5. Lowe broke that tackle and then accelerated.
11-yard gain on the play gives the Bridgeman a first down.
And it's enough for a first down. He barely got 11. What a run by Tyson Lowe. Dejon Burns and runs into Mateo Pavin for a couple. Clock at 1:45 and moving. 3rd quarter. This drive started inside the Fort Lee 1-yard line.
Buchanan, 2nd and 8 from 49.
Park. And this time a great penetration into the backfield by Glen Ridge. Ryan O'Neal fanned on the first hit before Pavin cleans up on Park. That's a loss of 2.
Ball carrier, it's 3rd down.
And it's going to be 3rd down and 11.
3rd and 11 from the 46.
Well, this drive has proven that Fort Lee is absolutely in 4-down territory the remainder of the night. They've already converted 2 deep in their own end. Lau on the roll right. And that Lau tucks it and tries to go, and he'll be stopped. Tommy Hausman tracks him down in the backfield. He's the general up front, a 2-year starter, defensive end. Very good athleticism for a center, also a varsity lacrosse player, and a defenseman in that sport. So 4th and 14, and Fort Lee tasked to try to convert for the 3rd time on a 4th down on this drive. Lau rolls left, then fires on the move, and the completion. Armwood. The question is it short of the first down? It depends on the spot, and he is just short by a yard.
13-yard game, change of possession. Glen Ridge takes over.
It's a 13-yard pickup. Armwood's momentum took him out of bounds, but a strike thrown on the run by Raymond Lau and secured by Armwood. And Fort Lee's passing game at times has looked like it can execute at a high level. They've missed a couple, but they've shown they have the potential Now, they can be an explosive passing game to go along with what they have in Dean Park and Burns on the ground. It is McCarron on first down as he fights forward and picks up 2. And that'll be the end of the third quarter. Each team with a touchdown. Big plays from James McCarron, a 40-yard run before Dean Park would answer on a 70-yard run and then had another one called back on a penalty. 35-16 as we go to the fourth quarter. Glen Ridge in front on the Fort Lee Athletics channel.
Second and 10 from the 47, start of the
35-16 Glen Ridge as we begin the fourth quarter. On the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel, James McCarron on the 2nd and 9 run, breaks it to the outside and with a stiff arm, and he is forced out of bounds into Fort Lee territory. McCarron is known for his stiff arm and that power that he uses in wrestling, kind of like throwing a shot in a wrestling move. And he is proficient in not getting flagged for it. It's sort of like a physical stiff arm where he gets his hand on you and then sort of forces you off of him. So that's a gain of 20 on the play. McCarron on first down, and this time Fort Lee is able to string the play out a little bit better. Ruben Mancia inside. Mancia, the transfer from Palisades Park High School, neighboring town of Fort Lee. He played on the varsity there as a sophomore. He's the starting center and starting defensive tackle, two-way guy for the Bridgemen. No gain on the play for McCarron. But what a welcome gift it was to the Fort Lee community to add Ruben Mancia. Dylan O'Neill goes back to right. And some quick penetration from Gabe Jimenez just to slow up Wright's feet. And Wright is able to pick up just 2. Glen Ridge, during their last possession, attempted a couple of passes. They've attempted 3 in the second half. And Dylan O'Neill has thrown for a touchdown. His 3rd passing touchdown of the season. He had 2 against Dwight Morrow last week. He sends Pavin, the tight end, now split left. O'Neal will throw, throws right, and the pass a little high, incomplete. There was a flag down pre-snap, so we'll check out the call.
Legal procedure against the offense.
False start.
For illegal formation.
No, it's the formation rather than the false start, so 3rd and 13, Glen Ridge.
It's 3rd down and 13. Ball spotted at 36.
Glen Ridge has only punted once, and that was Dylan O'Neal seeing Frankie Renoir get downfield and down the ball inside the 1-yard line. So this may not necessarily be 4-down territory for the Ridgers. Up 35-16. O'Neal taking the snap with a deep drop, looking long to the outside for Renoir, who had to turn, and it's incomplete. And we have a Fort Lee player down behind the play, and the pressure on Dylan O'Neal. And this is Justin Armwood. Did you see what happened? Justin Armwood, after being down for a couple of minutes, receiving assistance to come off the field. 6-foot senior wide receiver, a 2-year starter. He's only played in 1.5 games of the 3 so far coming into today due to injury. And Coach Charles Salame is giving him some assistance as he heads off, but for Justin Armwood, I see him over at the training table. He's trying to flex what appears to be his right leg or his right knee. So Fort Lee will miss him and his pass rushing ability as defensive end. 9:05 left. O'Neal in the rugby-style punt will get it away, and this ball is again downed inside the 1-yard line. One of the Glen Ridge players had their body go into the end zone, but made contact and was able to not hold on to the ball while being in the end zone, and that is just fine special teams tonight from Glen Ridge. It's been a grade A night for Glen Ridge and special teams in all facets. So for the second time tonight, Fort Lee starts a drive at their own 1-yard line. Matter of fact, consecutive possessions beginning from their own 1-yard line. So Raymond Lau will take the snap from under center to John Burns. He blasts forward and rumbles across the 10-yard line. He's going to pick up the first down. And even from my view here, that appears like it's going to be enough. But it appears it is a half-yard shy. So Fort Lee now back to the shotgun. Low keeping, and he's wrapped up and dropped as he tried to option left. Low has kept every time. He has not pitched when he has ran it. Fort Lee has not taken a shot downfield to Low in a while, except for the 4th and 8 conversion during the last drive. But they have not tested Glen Ridge deep with him. Lau will look that way and takes a shot deep for Low. Incomplete. Low had sort of slowed up and then re-accelerated once the ball was released. And just good coverage downfield from Greg Maritosoff, senior cornerback in his first year in the varsity. That's a varsity track guy at Glen Ridge that's known to be tough in terms of trying to get deep on him. And he played the ball well. 2nd and 10. Lau, now this time over the middle for Low, overthrows him, and it's intercepted. The interception by Frankie Renoir. Renoir just playing center field, easily picks it off, and with exactly 8 minutes left, Glen Ridge is just a few first downs away where they can secure this game. But there is a flag down, and it's a roughing the passer call against Glen Ridge. So Fort Lee gets a huge break.
1st and 10 from 28.
So that advances the football up to the 27. Lau firing left, and the completion. This is Kim.
Kim on the completion, 13-yard gain on the play.
Paul Kim, the reception. That's across the 40-yard line. Pauses the clock at 7:52, and Fort Lee in the hurry-up. Now with a deep drop, and throws it out, Dean Park. As Park cuts it back inside, picked up a block. He's going to be close to getting the first down before James McCarron finishes him off. So he is into Glen Ridge territory to the 49. Fort Lee now in a must-score possession to make it be a 2-possession game and then think about an onside kick. And movement up front, as that's Tommy Hausman jumping. And Glen Ridge has hurt themselves with flags on this possession. So the extra 5 down to the 44.
1st and 5 from the 44.
So Lau with the first down call, 1st and 5. Over the middle, passed off the hands of Tyson Lowe, and it falls incomplete. Would have been a short pickup of about 4. And Fort Lee tonight has tried to find Tyson Lowe in a number of ways. That was a shorter underneath stop pattern. Park out of the backfield. Races ahead, turns the corner, and picks up the first down. It is so fun to watch Dean Park accelerate. That ball was kind of high and tight to his helmet, but he still never breaks stride as he makes the catch and turns it upfield. So he picks up the first down, and Fort Lee on the move to the 37 of Glen Ridge. Glen Ridge led 21-0 at the end of the first quarter, capitalizing on Bridgman mistakes, 2 turnovers, and a block punt return for a touchdown. And this is Lau throwing it away.
Fastball's incomplete, brings up second down.
Lau again for Parkin. This time it's dropped.
Pass intended for Park, calls incomplete, brings up third down.
Lau under a rush of Ryan O'Neal, who hit him as he threw.
Fans, don't forget to stop by
And
the
here's
concession
third
stand
down and
for
10.
$1 hot dogs. Get your hot dogs at the concession stand for just $1.
And Fort Lee in a point where, despite Dean Park's success on the ground, with just 6:20 left, and they're forced to put the ball up in the air almost exclusively. But Park has been available as an extension of the running game out in the flat. Lau rolling right. The pocket rolls with him. He's under rush by Schumann, and he has to throw it away.
Fastball's incomplete, brings up fourth down.
Or make that rather Mateo Pavin.
Penalty marker.
And the flag is out, and Pavin can't believe it. By rule, this is going to be considered, I think, a late hit. Despite Pavin, I think, just doing his job. He was speeding towards Lau. Lau's pass, I don't think, got to the line of scrimmage to be intentional grounding. I think this is in the vicinity of a late hit. And indeed, the officials discussing it, they must have been discussing the intentional grounding aspect of it. I don't think that that ball got back to the line of scrimmage, which was the 38. But I think they deemed it close enough.
Fourth down.
So it's another fourth down for Fort Lee. They converted 2 on their last series. Lau firing, looking for Lowe. It's incomplete. And a flag comes out. And this could be a pass interference.
Against the defense. 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
So Lowe was impeded in his pass pattern. And this is 3 penalties on this drive alone by Glen Ridge defensively. Including a 15-yard roughing the passer that eliminated Frankie Renoir interception. Now looking right again. Throws right, and it's incomplete. And he looked for the freshman. That's Jalen Balbuena, who was in there in the absence of the injured Justin Armwood. And Armwood still on the Fort Lee bench on the training table. Does not appear to be any serious pain, but he appears to be done for the rest of the night. So that's a significant loss for the Bridgemen. They would love to have him to stretch the field and then work his patterns underneath in the intermediate routes. On the 2nd and 10, Lau under a pressure. He goes down. He is sacked and the ball comes out. Tommy Hausman had the hit. And it's recovered by Alex Fuentes, the left guard. Well, they're spotting the football back at the original line of scrimmage, and the Glen Ridge bench is screaming at our official, wondering why this is at least not a fumble. The officials have deemed it to be just an incompletion. 3rd and 10. Park running behind Fuentes at left guard. Will take it to the 20. So for the 4th time on this series, a 4th down attempt for the Bridgemen. 5:29 left, 4th quarter. Glen Ridge jumped out and led 14-0, 5 minutes into the game, and 21-0 at the end of one. Lau under a rush and has to throw it away. No flags, and Glen Ridge takes over. That time, Josh Schumann, all of 6'3" and growing, got into the backfield immediately. Schumann, 6'3", 210, just a junior. Dad is 6'9". They expect Josh Schumann to keep going and climbing the ladder to perhaps be as tall as Dad someday. And he has the frame where a year from now, he could be quite the devastating player as a defensive end in high school football. So Glen Ridge takes over with 5:13 left, just needing a couple of first downs to feel sure about this game. And they start on the ground with James McCarron into the secondary, then the stiff arm, still on his feet, and McCarron is finally dragged down at the 41 of Fort Lee. And McCarron wanted to ice the game there. That's a 38-yard run for McCarron. Among the best offenses you could think of to play with a lead, the wing tee would have to be it. It's misdirection, the ball security that it usually has. The quarterback is always under center. You hate playing against it. McCarron chased backside, then turns the corner and picks up another yard inside of the 40. And this will take the clock to under 4 minutes left. Glen Ridge, as I talked about, they are a very small school, considered a small Group 1, 834 students, 7 through 12. And they don't count the previous year's senior class when they do that, so it's really over the course of 5 grades. So it's about 150 students per grade. This is McCarron breaking a tackle in the backfield, spins forward, and then picks up a first down. And that is just want to from McCarron as he puts the finishing touches on what's been a great night for him. 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving, and great play at inside linebacker. Steve Trevino, his 4th season, taking over for 26-year coach Duke Mendez, who did so many great things to lift up the participation level at Glen Ridge. They were consistently competitive. Right, and Right again powers forward.
7-yard gain, stopped by Lugo.
Duke Mendez spent, I think, 35 years teaching at Glen Ridge High School. And numbers at a Group 1, even though these are great athletic communities, it can be cyclical. In Steve Trevino's first season in 2018, they started preseason that year, that August, with just 17 players. So the seniors that year, they had to go out and recruit. And they were able to add 5 more players as that season got started. But they played that entire 2018 season with just 22 guys. That is truly small-town America football.
Right, gain of 5 on the play, brings up first down.
And Steve Trevino had some of that experience during his time at Chatham. He was also head coach at the Newark Academy, 2 years at Dayton Regional, that's down in Springfield, New Jersey, and then 4 years at Chatham. He played for a state sectional championship in his 2015 Chatham team. That is McCarron trying to bounce it outside, and he cannot on first down.
Stopped by Mancia. Second and 13.
Also in the vicinity, Group 1 teams in the state sectional. In the old system, Cedar Grove and Verona, Shabazz, Weequahic. So there's some good small schools in the area that are always competing for section championships. But because of the reformatted New Jersey State playoff structure, this new conference, this Ivy League, does not participate in the state championship. You play for an Ivy League division championship. Right again, up the middle.
Right. 1 minute remaining in regulation.
And he picks up about 4 as we're inside the final minute. So Glen Ridge is going to be 3-1. Fort Lee will fall to 3-1 themselves. And an interesting division shapes up the rest of the way. Big matchup next Saturday for the Ridgers. Saturday the 9th at 1 p.m. against Pascack Hills, who slowed down Fort Lee just enough last week before Glen Ridge will finish up at Dover and then host Dumont. There's a real chance Glen Ridge could be 6-1 going into the Week 8 playoffs that the Ivy League White Division participates in. And Fort Lee is going to have to pick up the pieces, and Glen Ridge is just going to take the delay of game here, and then they can take a knee during this 3rd and 13 play and say goodnight. But for Fort Lee, they then left some points out on the field, a couple of key penalties that really hurt them, but overall unable to stop the wing T tonight and force difficult down and distances was the ultimate headline and theme that hurt the Bridgemen tonight. Final score tonight, 35-16. Glen Ridge, an impressive victory for the Ridgers, who jumped out 2 possessions in, 14-0, led 21-0 at the end of one. And they were consistent in executing their wing T and played a grade A game on special teams. James McCarron with 2 rushing touchdowns and 1 receiving. Ryan O'Neal with a 21-yard touchdown run of his own. Will Horan with the blocked punt return touchdown. For Glen Ridge, Fort Lee got the 70-yard touchdown run from Dean Park in the third quarter and a 3-yard touchdown run from Tejan Burns in the third to comprise their scoring. 35-16 is the final for our entire crew here at Fort Lee Athletics. For our producer and director tonight, Dimitri Nanas, my name is Ralph Bednarczyk saying so long and good night from Fort Lee High School. You've been listening and watching Fort Lee football on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel.